your mommy. I make A1 sound.
Hello, everybody. This is episode 10 of Dreadful Talk, and I could not be more excited. 10's a small milestone, but a milestone nonetheless. I plan on getting that number much higher, but everybody that's been a part of this process so far, everybody who's, liked, shared, followed, subscribed, all that good stuff, I really, really appreciate you. It's been a blast. I've learned a ton. I'm learning as I go, as we all are. But I'm really glad this is the 10th episode of Dreadful Talk. So yeah, shout that out. Nothing to cheers with but some water, but that's all good. Oh man, stay hydrated out there, everybody. Take your vitamins, boost that immune system, you know what I mean? I know I get my party on, my scumbag on, but you gotta take care of yourself. You may notice this is a very different background than usual. That's because I'm coming to you live from South Lake Tahoe right now. I'm on the California side of the border. I almost made this whole episode just on Lake Tahoe. I could go on all day about it. I mean, it's a very magical place. If you've never been here, highly recommend it. Like, people wonder, where the prettiest spot in Cali is. And, most people probably assume it's some beach or something, and they'd be wrong, because the prettiest place I've been in California, granted, haven't been everywhere, but I've been to a lot of the big ones that people talk about. And I'll put, Lake Tahoe up against any of it. Once again, I haven't traveled that much in my life. I plan on, trying to see much more of this world in my limited time here on this earth, but I haven't seen that much of it yet. But from what I've seen, man, you just can't beat Lake Tahoe. I mean, it's crazy. Like in the summer, like right now it's August, absolutely gorgeous, like 80-degree weather. I mean, the water is just better than any swimming pool you could imagine, crystal clear. All the wildlife is out, just absolutely gorgeous. No snow, even on the highest peaks. But then in the wintertime, this place turns into like a ski snow resort. But most people probably didn't even think you could do that in Cali or Nevada. But yeah, here it's 4 hours from the Bay Area. You can ski, snowboard, some of the best in the world. Right now, I'm right up a street from Heavenly Valley Resort, which is like one of the best, ski, snowboard resorts around. I went there when I was like a freshman in high school, I think. It was hella dope. I haven't snowboarded in years. I wanna give it a try again. I absolutely have the best memories, man. I just remember getting so damn distracted. It's so gorgeous on your way down that it's hard to like focus on like the task at hand. For those wondering about the stunner shades, no, I'm not just taking my douchebaggery to a new level. I'm at this like lake house right now, and not my usual like room studio setup. So I'm actually kind of like staring out of a window right now. So I didn't want to be just like squinting the whole time, but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put it past anybody to just assume I was being a douche or a tool. So, I have set a decent precedent of that in the past. Man, so shout out to Avatar. I never watched anime in my whole life. Like, I missed out on that whole wave. Like a lot of our generation, grew up watching it. I never grew up watching it. It was weird. Like, my parents were just, like, weirdly not down with it. Like, I don't know. It was weird. But I have recently got into it more, lately just as a grown man. And, man, like, Avatar was my intro into it. And I've, like, moved on to some other things since then. But I really respect it now. I talked a lot of shit on anime and shit, growing up. Just, as kids, we all just pretty much repeat what our parents say anyway. It takes a while to develop your own thoughts and worldviews and shit. So, I grew up kind of talking shit on anime. I may have clowned some of y'all for watching it out there in the past. And I'll take that back. It's pretty dope. It's at least what I've seen so far, you know what I mean? I'm sure, like, all genres, there's probably good, there's probably bad. Like, I'm not saying all anime is good, but it's definitely not all bad. That's the bigger point here. But, yeah, if you've never been to Lake Tahoe, man, it's paradise, like, straight up. And, like, depending on what time of the year you come, it's a different type of paradise, but regardless, paradise all the same. Like, I passed a building earlier, it cracked me up. It said, it's one building, it's essentially like a hotel. It says beach/ski resort. And I'm like, what other place on earth could you have a beach/ski resort in the same building and it's not talking about water skiing, it's talking about snow skiing? I was like, man, I fucking love Lake Tahoe. But yeah, we're up here for the week. The family that Nina nannies for has been more than gracious and, you know, invited us up with them. So that's super cool. I'm really enjoying it. Like I said, my favorite place on earth. Haven't been everywhere yet. Plan on going more places. But as of now, my power ranking of spots, my favorite places is Lake Tahoe. Like, I could even maybe consider myself moving to Reno maybe sometime in the future because like it's like right up the road. It's like maybe 30, 40 minutes depending on what part of Tahoe you're coming from. Get on the Nevada side of the border, get the fuck out of these Cali taxes, you know what I'm saying? You feel me? But yeah, man, so episode 10, live from Lake Tahoe, and today's topic might not expect it, but or maybe you have, maybe you will if you've been following my life recently. It's gonna be like relationships, believe it or not. Who would ever thought I'd be fucking talking about relationships? But I feel like in these past 2.5 years, I've learned a lot of things that nobody ever told me. And maybe if I could, you know, share that and maybe offer some perspective other than the shit that's fed to us all, because that shit is bullshit. All the movies, all the shit your big homies, your homeboys tell you about girls, man, I'll forget all that shit. That shit ain't gonna take you nowhere, for real. But yeah, I recently got officially engaged to Nina, man. I couldn't be happier. We had like an engagement party with like my family members and stuff back in San Jose like a week ago. Super excited. It's like that's why this topic is fresh on my mind. Like I never really thought I would be engaged. And I mean, I'm sure some of y'all that knew me back in the day are probably wondering like, well, this fool's engaged. But a lot of y'all, you know, that have met me since I've been with Nina, you know, it makes perfect sense and you understand it. Like, duh, they're engaged. So like, and so, yeah, like I said, I haven't always known a lot about relationships. I spent the vast majority of my life pretty much being terrible at relationships, whether it being in one way or the other. Like, I wasn't a good single dude, wasn't good at relationships either. So it's like, who am I to really give advice? And so if you want to tune out. But you know who I am is like, I'm just a dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not this super wholesome family dude that how some people was raised. And I had to learn this shit on my own. You know, I didn't really have any like big brothers, you know what I'm saying, dad around, nothing. So the shit I learned on my own. And it's real. And it's not like fairy tale cornball bullshit like the shit that most people try to talk about when they talk about this subject. Like, most people either talk about this subject from like a La La Land fantasy point of view or from like a doctor psychologist point of view. And I ain't here to do either of those. You know what I'm saying? I'm here to just as a man. And this is going to be mainly from the male perspective. So, you know, I love my female followers, my female listeners, you know, definitely tune in if you're interested in hearing some of the, you know, opposite side of the coin. But obviously I'm not qualified to talk about, you know what I mean, the other sex is part of the relationship, you know what I mean? And that's actually the first thing I want to touch on is that on the subject of relationships, I feel like there is like 9.5 million women talking about this subject, many of whom, you know, shouldn't be, for just to put it nicely. And there's hardly any men talking about this subject. And the men that are talking about this subject aren't the type of men or dudes or whatever you want to call it that are, you know what I mean, that the average dude is going to like give a shit about or listen to it. You know what I mean? It's some doctor, you know what I mean? It's some psychologist, you know what I mean? It's some fucking romance poet or some shit that plays acoustic guitar with this ball sack or some shit, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just coming at you from like a normal dude's perspective on relationships, you know what I mean? Like I said, I had to learn this stuff. And I ain't coming at you from some like idealistic perspective or some clinical perspective, just like, you know, that because I think there's too much of that. And I think that's what causes people problems, like in just approaching relationships or in relationships or confidence in relationships or why is my relationship different than that relationship. And it's because we listen to too many doctors and too many fucking sappy bitches and just we don't listen to real people. most people out there in long, happy, successful marriages are essentially what a lot of people would call average Joes. We don't ever hear about them. We don't ever see about them. It's that couple, they've been eating at that same McDonald's for 55 fucking years or something. You know what I mean? Like, that's like the real everyday average American love. Like, this shit ain't no, you know what I mean, Fabio on the beach type shit. And it also ain't this, and I want to talk about the other perspective too, because this is becoming more prevalent in our culture as well. The whole like ratchet, like, oh, just be a hoe and fuck it and fuck loyalty and niggas ain't loyal and bitches ain't loyal and everybody just look out for yourself, because that ain't the answer either. The real answer is just keeping it real. Like, all these fake narratives have been like inserted into our minds to think that like that's how it's supposed to be, that's love, that's relationship, and it ain't that you need to like ditch that. And then that goes for other things besides that, man. All this like fake shit that's just been funneled to us all, and I'm not saying I'm excluded from that, like, and this is gonna kind of sound arrogant, or I'm not tooting my own horn. Other people say, like, have told me that I'm like wise and that I know a lot of shit. And like, you know, they even question how, I mean, I'm a little bit educated, but by most standards, I'm not an educated person. And it's like, half of that shit is just unlearning the fake bullshit. I promise you. Whether you want to like apply that to history, or like I said, to relationships, or to just like shit, bullshit, fake shit, irrelevant horse shit that we just soak in throughout our life and throughout our time on this earth, that doesn't matter. It makes you waste time and distracts you and makes you lose your focus on what's really important. And I guess if you want to put on your tinfoil hat, feel free to join me here, or your blue do-rag. Because imagine if everybody was focused and had their shit together and like wasn't, you know, like stressing and killing themselves over trivial bullshit. I'm not saying people don't got real problems, but man, if you listen to a lot of people's problems, it's trivial bullshit that could just, if you just lived your life right and just, you know what I'm saying, made some better choices, that it would take care of itself. And like I said, this ain't no soapbox. This is called trial and error. Anybody that knows me knows I made a lot of mistakes. And what does a wise man do when he makes a mistake? A wise man makes mistakes. That's another misconception. Like, people think smart people or successful people don't fuck up. Couldn't be further from the truth. The smart people and successful people learn from their fuck ups. And they don't let those fuck ups go to waste. And they don't fuck up on the same thing twice. That's the definition of progress. That's how you move forward, become more efficient, trim the fat. I mean, that applies to your life too. And like, so that's why I'm coming to you as trial and error, life experience. You know what I mean? Failure. You know what I'm saying? A man that's made mistakes. That's what I'm coming to you as. I'm not coming to you on no soapbox preaching. No, I said I ain't no doctor. I ain't no, you know what I mean? I ain't know nothing. I'm just a dude. That's what Dreadful Talk's all about. You know what I'm saying? Like, people having conversations again and speaking freely. You know what I mean? In ways that have often been restricted in a lot of ways in today's society. And, you know, we got to have honest conversations with real people. Not the people that they want you hearing from. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why them corny motherfuckers is shoved down your throat. There's a reason, and it ain't a good reason. And I'm not saying that like make me your only source. I could give you a list of 20 other sources better than me. But if you happen to be listening to me and some of the shit that I've learned filters through me to you, you know what I mean? Then I think the world can be a better place for it. That's all this is. But, so yeah, like I said, there's not a lot of, like, there's a lot of women discussing this subject. There's not as many dudes discussing this subject. And the dudes that are discussing this subject are dudes that a lot of dudes relate to. It's my perspective. Feel free to disagree. So yeah, like I said, I recently got engaged officially. You know what I mean? We kind of did things a little untraditional, but the official engagement took place last week. And, you know, me and Nina have been together for 2.5 years. And let me just tell you, man, like, the best 2.5 years of my life. And I'm not saying that to score points with her. She probably ain't even gonna watch this far through. But, like, seriously, man, like, best 2.5 years of my life. I've grown more as a person in those 2.5 years with Nina than the whole previous 20 whatever fucking years before that. Seriously. Like if I would have been growing and working on myself at the rate that I have been these past 2.5 years, that whole time, like I feel like I've wasted my whole life. I feel like I wasted my whole life just being inefficient and worrying about the wrong shit. Which we all guilty of, but man, you gotta unlearn that shit. I'm telling you, the quickest way to wisdom is not learning, it's unlearning. Because we've all been just force-fed horse shit for a long time. But yeah, man, engaged, you know what I mean? It feels crazy to say I'm engaged. People ask me, oh, does it feel different? It kind of does, man. It's weird. It's weird. And I know people out there like, oh, like marriage is just like the government getting involved in your relationship. Like, I don't need the government's approval to be with my wife or blah, 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 blah. I've heard that. I actually used to like write papers about that type of shit in college. And like I was in like the sociology class and I would write about how like marriage was like a product of like 21st century like or like Marriage for Love is like essentially from movies and Hallmark and shit. Don't try to come at me with that. I've literally written research papers on that. I know that perspective. I respect that perspective. And for a lot of people in a lot of situations, it's true. But for me, I felt like it was the right thing to do. And that's what we got to start doing more in our lives, y'all. We got to start like trusting our gut. You know what I mean? Doing what we feel like is right. And I mean that in the sense of like your own thoughts, not like, oh, I see somebody doing that and I think that's right, so I'm going to try. No, like I feel like we all should instinctively in our gut, in our heart know essentially what we should be doing with our lives. And you know what I mean? We should be working towards that. And so you know, and just some, I want to tell you something. I'm going to talk about some keys to success, some things that have worked for me, some things I've learned, you know what I mean? Some things I've unlearned as I was talking about. And this is going to sound silly, maybe to some of y'all, but my number one key to success, like, I'm not joking. I'm really not joking. It's going to sound like I'm joking, but I'm not. Like, listen to Love Yours by J. Cole. Like minimum of like 3 times a month. I'm not saying listen to it every day. But man, that's like that song is the definition of check yourself, look in the mirror, prioritize. You know what I'm saying? Listen to Love Yours by J. Cole like multiple times a month. Seriously. Especially, like I said, I'm coming as a man. I'm sure it works great for women too. But as a man, you know what I mean, that's been loyal, you know what I mean, that's doing this the right way. Listen to Love Yours by J. Cole a couple times. Because, like, J. Cole, and he talks about it, too, in his other song, G-O-M-D, how don't nobody sing about it no more. It's called Love. Don't nobody talk about it no more. And then this the part that the thugs skip. Like, real talk, like we've been so taught that, like, love is corny and that, like, it's lame and that, like, cool people don't do that. That's for old people. That's for lame asses. That's for religious people. That's for Mormons. You know what I'm saying? That's for people that don't fuck. You know what I mean? And it couldn't be further from the truth. Now a lot of those things that I listed, you know what I mean, they do kind of preach marriage. And that's partly what turned me off so much about marriage when I was younger, especially like I went to a Baptist college. I went to and played football at Oklahoma Baptist University. And met some great people over there, but it was a bizarre college experience. I mean, Oklahoma Baptist, just right-wing Christian, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people, the shit that would come out of their mouth was just like 1950s. Like, really weird place. Met some great people there, though. I really enjoyed my athletic career there, so I mean, I'm not just shitting on it, but it's just a bizarre place. Especially looking back on it, you know what I mean? At the time, I was young, you know, I was still religious. It didn't seem as weird, like in the moment, but just, you know, looking back on it, I'm just like, whoa, that went down. That was said, like, openly, like, yikes. But yeah, so I went to OBU, and like at OBU, there's like this, it's literally a saying, and it's like kind of tongue in cheek, but not really. Like, not really. It's called Ring by Spring. Like by spring of your senior year, like right before graduation, you essentially like damn near the whole school proposes. Like everybody gets engaged. Like so they say it kind of tongue in cheek, but in like everybody knows like really like religious. It's real old school. Like a lot of them say their virginity till marriage. A lot of them don't, but a lot of them do. So I think that factors in. I mean, you ain't busted a nut in 19 years, dog. I mean, I'd be trying to marry the first thing that walked past me too. I mean, shit, you can say that's crude or oversimplified, but I've witnessed it. Like, these dudes don't even know these girls they're marrying, or vice versa. They're just trying to fuck. I mean, who isn't trying to fuck? So, I mean, I'm not saying they're wrong, but they just been brainwashed. But yeah, so that kind of scared me off of marriage. And then, like I said, so after OBU, I transferred to OU, and I was in this like sociology class with this like uber liberal sociology teacher, and she was just like teaching us, like trying to teach us how like love was like a man-made concept, and people only married before to have like children and work the farm and shit. Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. I mean, everybody knows history, but I still think, and I'm here to, kind of speak on, I still think that there's, a place for marriage in like modern society amongst like, for lack of better terms, normal people. I mean, I guess if I'm your definition of normal, that's pretty fucked up. But, you know what I mean? I just like the people that aren't super religious or aren't, this or aren't that, like I think there's still a place for marriage. And I want to kind of take a second to also point out, I'm a mixed man, I've been classified as black since before I even knew I was black. And if that sentence doesn't make sense to you, go back and listen to my life story podcast. That'll make more sense. But, yeah, so like the world treated me as black before I even knew I was black. So I essentially identify as a black man, and the world views me as a black man, regardless of how anybody feels about it. Trust me from my experience. You know what I'm saying? And so I say that to say and kind of going back to the J. Cole lyrics like that, I really want to emphasize that I think there's a place for young black men to get married. I think we don't see as much of that as we, potentially should or could. And that's not to say that it doesn't happen, because I'm not on that stereotype shit. Like, I know plenty of happily, faithful black family men. Like, that shit is not as rare as people make it seem. But that being said, it's kind of been like stigmatized, or just like exactly like what J. Cole was saying. Like, don't nobody sing about it no more. Don't nobody talk about it no more. This is the part that the thugs skip. Like, everybody's too cool for love. Like, literally the genre of R&B died essentially because everybody too cool for love. R&B turned into to fucking auto-tune fucking songs that are played in Finish Line. Like, that's what wins like R&B awards nowadays. Like, R&B used to be love songs, like strong, like masculine love. Like, that's another, and like I kind of want to segue, like, ain't nothing more masculine than like loving your wife and being a good husband and doing the fucking right thing, man. That's the hard, like, that's the route less traveled nowadays. Like, that's the real hard path to take. I'm not saying it's the path of least resistance, but the path of least resistance is for the weak. Dudes that entertain every single bitch, that's weak-minded. That's insecurity. Like, nigga, you really need somebody to tell you cool or that you good looking? Like, you can't just know that? You know what I'm saying? Think about it. I used to do it, man. A lot of us have. Like I said, I'm not speaking from no soapbox. I'm speaking as a man of the people, man. That was me. I thought that, like, having a lot of hoes made me cool or made me attractive or made me have self-worth. Couldn't be further from the truth, man. I was so, like, unsure of myself. Like, I was so unsure of myself back then. I didn't have faith that I was cool or that I was attractive or that I was, that I was really anything. I was wanting the world to tell me what I was, and I needed, like, validation. You know what I mean? And that's how I sought that validation. Every time, you know what I'm saying, hook up with a girl, whatever, get a number. It doesn't even have to be a hookup. Get a number. You can get a look. get a this, get a that. Who knows what happened? But I would leave that, be like, yeah, you that dude. Yeah. But it was so fake. It was false bravado. Like, that's fake masculinity. That's fake confidence. That's fake love. It's fake, man. That shit is an illusion. Like, abandon that shit, man. I'm telling you. Ain't nothing more masculine than just holding it down and then having her hold it down back with you. And then y'all a team and y'all grind and y'all make more money together and y'all achieve success together. Y'all help each other. Y'all fill in each other's weaknesses. You know what I mean? Like, man, you ain't ever going to get that from just living a fast life. You ain't, man. That shit, that's how you, and then a lot of people, you know, we all know people that are in relationships that are miserable. And, like, it scares people from relationships in general. But it's like, if you think about the circumstances of them relationships, like, how many of them people is what we just talked about. Like, he don't really like her, but she's bad, or, you know, he makes her look cool to his boys. So, and you know, it looks cool on the gram, you know, and so, yeah, I'm gonna keep me I got this bad bitch, but you don't love her, and she don't love you. Y'all using each other for this weird clout shit. That shit is not real either. Ditch that shit. And then there's, like I said, there's like the religious marriages that are just like vanilla and void of all, you know, lust and excitement and all that. And then, you know, there's the relationships that are founded just only on lust and excitement. And that shit is a shaky ass foundation too. None of them is a recipe, man. You gotta find somebody who and I don't even know really how I feel on like spirits and souls and all that, but I do believe that like there's consciousness inside you. Like, we're something looking out of these eyes. You know what I'm saying? We aren't these eyes. We are something using this body as a vessel. Whatever term you want to put on that, insert your goddamn word there. But that being said, you got to find somebody who loves that. That, like, if you're a skeleton and flesh, this is just flesh. This is rot. This is rotting as we speak and being replaced with new cells. You got to find somebody that loves that whatever that is. If you want to call it a soul, your spirit, your consciousness, your entity, your energy, you got to find somebody that loves you for that. And then conversely, that's what you got to find in somebody else that you love. Because that other shit, I mean, you can have some fun, man. Like, I'm not saying everybody go get married right now, but I'm saying you got to know what it is. You can't. Because a lot of people end up in miserable ass relationships trying to base that shit off of superficial, or, you know, oh, they financially secure, or, oh, she's hot, or, you know, that ain't no real foundation. Even that's kind of what society's preached for the past 50 years. That shit was a lie. You just gotta find somebody that fucks with your energy, your soul, and you gotta reciprocate that, you know? I really feel like, you know, that's what it boils down to, you know? Like, it's funny. Like, people ask me, especially, it happened more whenever we were first together, but I'm sure it'll happen again now that we're engaged. People ask me, like, oh, like, what do you see in Nina? Like, what's your favorite thing about her? Like, and I'm sure most people are expecting some kind of corny Hallmark, oh, the way the light hit her eyes when I first saw her. Like, nah, dog, she's solid. And people say, solid? That's not a romantic word. In my eyes, solid is the highest compliment I can pay somebody. Trustworthy, solid, loyal. That's rock solid. That's what that means, solid. That's how I answer that question when people ask me, you know, my favorite thing about Nina, or what I saw in her. However, that question gets phrased a lot of ways, but the answer is that solid. She's solid, most loyal, solid, that never wavered, not a second, just solid as I've ever met. And that should be, whether you're a man, whatever sexuality, like that's what you should be looking for in your partner. I'll use those words, in your partner. Because that's really what it is. It's a teammate. It's a partner. And those words, that's what I'm saying. That shit ain't Disney. That shit ain't Hallmark. That shit ain't sexy. Teammate, Partner, what the fuck is this, a group science project, or are we talking about love here? No, man. Teammate, partner, that's what you want. That's the recipe for success. And the teamwork, I mean, it's just like how, you know, a handful of Navy SEALs can defeat 100 Taliban. It's because the teamwork, the way each one makes each other better, they fill in the holes. Or the 300, the Spartans, the Leonidas shit, they took on a much bigger army just based off teamwork. Like, that shit is, you can take on the world, man. Like, that shit is a solid foundation. Like I said, that superficial shit, that financial shit, that lust shit, that shit is shaky. That's sand foundation. That's shaky. The waves going to take that down eventually. The waves of time is going to take that down. But loyal, solid. I mean, and guess what? Loyal and solid ages well. Everybody's like, oh, what about when they're old and not hot anymore? Like, man, loyal and solid don't age. And it stays attractive if you're looking for the right things. Man, but yeah, you know, like I said, this is just shit I've learned. Like, I had to unlearn that whole illusion. Had to unlearn that whole illusion. And then, man, like I said, we gotta take it upon ourselves to, like, have that old school value still, like, mean something to us. Like, having your word means something to you. Like, that's something, you know, back in, you know, in the day, and the old heads, you know, that's something they really value. Our generation all about, you know, being a con man, you know, hitting licks, you know, hitting smooth ones, you know, hustling somebody. Hustling's good if you're talking about work ethic hustling, but like hustling, like swindling, that's weak. And like that same mentality, it's a shortcut mentality. How I said the tough man takes the road less traveled. The easy man, the weak man takes the easy path of least resistance. And you gotta, like, make that decision. Us men gotta make that decision to you know, like, embrace that challenge, you know, embrace just the grind, you know, just the holding yourself to the higher standard. Not, you know, maybe doing something the hard way a time or two. I'm not saying, like, be inefficient, but just always taking the path of least resistance, man. That'll weaken you. And it'll just make you look for shortcuts in other avenues of life. In a lot of ways, you know what I'm saying? Like, cheating and shit like that is a shortcut. It's a temporary, not even fix, but it's a temporary thing to do to not address the real problem. Like, if you and your old lady having problems, or the love fading, or this or that, or it was built on a shaky foundation, but you just gonna cheat instead of, you know what I'm saying, looking yourself in the mirror. Or in ladies, do the same thing. Like, I know I'm kind of saying, you know, pronouns here, but, you know, that shit is all interchangeable. Like, that shit ain't gonna fix nothing, and that ain't the real root cause of the issue. And, like, there's this, I don't even know what to call it, energy out there, wave. There's a wave, or just, it's being shoved down our throat that, like, stable is boring, and that, like, crazy and chaotic is hot and fun. And, like, man, that shit ain't true either. That's another illusion. I mean, it can be, but, I mean, that shit, doesn't have any, talk about a shaky foundation. That's what I'm going to say. That's the shakiest of all foundations. Like, that, oh, they're crazy and psycho and this and that and treat me like shit. Oh, but the sex is great. Like, you literally are stupid. Like you honestly deserve what comes to you. Like, no, I'm not talking about rape or domestic violence. I know that people try to spin that, but I'm just talking about, like, if you make decisions in your life based off stupid ass criteria, like shit like that, then what do you expect is gonna happen? Like things have an equal opposite reaction. Like, if you know what I'm saying? put out stupid energy and decisions, then stupid consequences are going to come back at you. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Like, you ain't going to just dodge that punch. Like, you throw one, you eat one, like a kickboxer throwing leg kicks. You take one, you throw one. Like you can't make them type of decisions and base your life on that type of shit and then be shocked when that shit don't work out smooth. Like, I really do believe, and this is why I believe in, like, small government and shit, because I believe deep down we really do know what the fuck we supposed to be doing and what we're not supposed to be doing. And we've all ignored that. We've all known that what we was about to do wasn't good and then still done it. We've all done it. Some of us has done it on small things, some of us has done it on big things, but we all know that little voice, that little conscience. We know. You know. I know. We all know what the fuck is good and bad. I truly believe that. I don't need a religion to tell me that. I don't need the government to tell me that. And you shouldn't either, man. You just, there ain't no secret sauce, man. It's doing the right thing. That's the key to happiness. People, I'm so depressed. Oh, well, you fucking live like a scumbag and don't do nothing to fucking better yourself, better the world, better your family. You should be depressed, you piece of shit. Like, dead ass. Like, do better. Be better. Live your life better. And I promise you'll be less depressed. I'm not saying that depression isn't real. Of course depression's real. We all struggle with it. But a good way to combat that depression is living your life right and making difficult decisions. Doing shit when you don't feel like doing it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what makes depression worse? Just making excuses and having shitty coping mechanisms and then just spiraling into a wormhole of sadness. And that's the anti-cure. That's how you're feeding it. And you gotta, when you do something hard, it could be physically hard, it could be mentally hard. Like, it could be physically pushing your body to the limit. It could be having a difficult conversation with your partner that push you both mentally and emotionally. But you come out better from it. And people that always choose the easy option don't ever see that, and then they blame the world for their problems. For real. We all know them. We've all done it. I'm not going to say know them like I ain't never done it. Like I said, I ain't speaking from no soapbox. But I'm just not afraid to look myself in the mirror. That's what separates me from certain people. I'm honest with myself. Quit fucking lying to yourself, man. Does you no good? Does nobody no good. Them lies that we tell ourselves, that's the real devil. Fuck religious devil. And them lies you tell yourself, and that's that real devil. For real. And when you don't listen to that voice in your head, that's the real devil. Whatever you want to apply that to your religion, apply it. But that's going to sink your ship. Then, everybody wants to talk about, millennials, we so broke, we don't got no capital, we don't got this, we don't got that. And it's true. We got handed a shit hand, fellow millennials. Born in 94, what's up? But the thing is, we also the least married generation. Guess what happens when you get married and you get in a serious relationship? You combine resources, but you essentially using the same amount of shit. Like, even though me and Nina share toothpaste, we don't realize that we buying twice as much toothpaste. You still just buy toothpaste when you need toothpaste, but we still have both as much money together. We combine. And like I said, you shouldn't make this decision financially, but it has financial benefits when you when you choose a responsible partner with work ethic and goals and ambition and want more out of life just like you do. That's what I'm saying, how you build each other and make each other stronger. You combine resources. You make your life a little bit easier for each other. Maybe she don't like doing one chore, you don't like doing chores. Guess what? Now you take the other one that you don't like, and now you never have to do that thing you don't like again. You know what I'm saying? Teamwork, like fill each other's gaps, prop each other up. Like where one has a deficiency, maybe that's your strong point. And maybe if both of y'all got the same deficiencies and same strong points, y'all may not be a good match, to be honest, based off my experience. Like, y'all got to fill each other's gaps. Like, the shit that I struggle with, Nina's great with. The shit that Nina struggle with, I'm great at. Like, we fill each other's gaps. Just from, like, an attribute standpoint. Like a video game attributes. Like, we got certain things that we all good at, but Like, you need one possession receiver and one speed receiver, because the speed receiver can do things that the possession receiver can't do, and the possession receiver can do things that the speed receiver can't do. That's why you got, point guards and centers in basketball, different skill sets, but you need them both, and they play off of each other, man. That's how that shit should be. You got to run a pick and roll with your old lady, man. Throw her that lob. You know what I'm saying? I know some of y'all girls can jump higher than y'all. She probably catching the lobs. You know what I'm saying? It's cool. That's cool. You know what I mean? Some people, that dynamic work for them, Let me see. But, like, another thing, too, it sounds simple. Just don't take your partner for granted. Like, don't get caught up in just like that, every day ain't special no more because a certain amount of time has gone by. Never take that shit for granted, man, because, there's a lot of people, whose loved ones never make it home, whether it be a car wreck, whether it be a murder, whether it be who the fuck knows, go to jail. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that never got to, kiss their old lady goodbye, or, you know what I mean? Tell her they love her one more time, and, we never know when our moment's gonna come. So, you gotta let her know every day, and ladies, let your man know every day, and just that love, you know what I mean. And there's certain days, bad mood, I feel it, tired, I get it, yeah, definitely, but you still gotta let them know. Still gotta let them know you can't be that selfish. That's another thing too. Like, it's made me. You thinking for two, not just one. If you're thinking for one and you in a serious relationship or a marriage, that's just ridiculous because those decisions impact each other. So you got to think for two, not thinking for the other person, but just thinking how that factors in. It's another wrinkle, like another thing to factor into the equation. You know what I mean? And like, I learned a new term. This is going to be actually like the only part of this that's like, textbook psychology type shit. Companionate love. Companionate love is the like clinical term for essentially what I've been describing with that solid, loyal shit. Companionate love is like the key to like long-term success. You know what I mean? Like if you want to marry a girl or marry a man, whatever, like companionate love is that longevity. That long haul, that marathon. You know what I mean? Companionate love. So it's not even romantic love. That's not the word. That's that Disney Channel shit. And not saying that there's not romance. You totally got to keep romance. But that's a separate clinical term. The term for what you should be looking for is companionate love. That's that grow old shit. You know what I mean? That's to have kids and grow old shit. People, everybody says that's what they want, but then they don't look for companionate love. Like, that's how you get the end long-term goal of growing old with somebody and having grandkids and shit. Companionate love, not that flash in the pan shit. Companionate love. Man. Like, another common thing, very common thing I hear a lot of my brothers, my fellow young dudes say, oh man, I'm focusing on my career right now. I'm focusing on my this right now. I'm on my grind right now. A lady will hold me back. I don't got time for that right now. I'm on my grind. And I feel it to a certain extent. A relationship does take time and energy. And if you have no time and energy to give, then that is probably better than getting in a relationship and not giving that relationship the time and energy it deserves. So to a certain extent, when people say that, there's like maybe a few people that use that term in the right way and actually mean it. And that really is what's best for their life right then. But I also feel like it's like a cop-out. Like it's, because you're not. A lot of times what a dude says that it's because he's not the man he wants to be yet. And I totally feel that, man. I totally feel that. Like, I'm so glad I didn't get married real young or get no girl pregnant when I was real young, because I was not the man that I am today. And I wouldn't be comfortable marrying Nina if I was still that man from back then. But the thing is, you can't just keep saying that, like, oh, I'm not ready for that, and then do nothing to work on yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's when it becomes a cop-out. You're just kicking the can down the road. Instead of picking up the can, go put it in the recycle. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to address the fucking issue at hand. you can't just kick the can down the road and be like, oh, well, you know, it's not the right time. I mean, if you really are just stacking and you're busy, you're in fucking law school and you really just legit don't have time. But, man, a lot of motherfuckers ain't doing shit but playing 2K, you know, selling grams and eights, being like, oh, I'm on my grind. I ain't got time for no bitch right now. Yes, the fuck you do, man, and it'll better your life. Trust me. I was kicking it playing 2K, selling grams and eights too. Hey, I'm speaking from experience, man. I'm telling you, I ain't no fucking perfect. I ain't speaking from no high horse. Fuck that. I'm right there with you, man. That's what I'm telling you. I did this shit and my life got better. Like, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like it ain't no magic cure. It ain't no magic blunt or magic drug or not even no magic pussy. You gotta really address yourself and work on yourself, and then you gotta find. You gotta work on that energy. Remember earlier I was talking about how you gotta find somebody that loves your energy. Well, you gotta clean that energy up and make that energy desirable and lovable, and then then you can attract that good quality of partner into your life. But you can't just be living wrong, essentially being a scumbag, and then, expect the perfect wife to fall in your lap. And then trust me, if she did fall into your lap, you would fuck it up. Because that's how I feel like, because me and Nina, for those that don't know, me and my fiance Nina, we went to the same high school. We're from the same town back in Oklahoma, but we didn't get together actually until we both independently moved to the Bay. So it came full circle. So it was a crazy set of circumstances, and I love that it worked out the way it did. But and so sometimes she'll ask me like, babe, what if we would have gotten together back in high school? And like, it's funny and it's cute, and I get what she's doing, but I always say, nah, like, I'm so glad we didn't, because we wouldn't be getting married right now. Like, I was not the man for that job at that time. So so like I said, like, I get it if certain people ain't ready, but the thing is, you gotta, like, get ready. I mean, if that's what you want, and trust me, man, you ever been at the grocery store, see the old single guy with a grocery cart full of just beer and fucking TV dinners and ramen and mac and cheese and shit, everything in boxes and frozen pizzas? It's the saddest fucking thing you ever see in your life. Like, you don't want to end up that way, Phil. It's not worth it just to keep, smashing local shorties at the bars and clubs and all that, like Tinder. That ain't gonna, when you old and fucking miserable and lonely and shit, man, that shit, it ain't gonna, the trade-off, the juice ain't worth the squeeze, man, as they say. But yeah, man, I'm super excited to be engaged, and I kind of got off the rails a little bit. I kind of just abandoned my notes, but sometimes you got to do that and just get your point across, and but yeah, this is episode 10 of Dreadful Talk. I'm super excited. We're 10 episodes in. Next episode, this is my last little janky episode with like an impromptu setup. I got my brand new ring light, nice big fancy one coming in. It just got in the mail. So, and then we got the new backgrounds coming soon too. So yeah, we're coming to you legit, but I just didn't want to miss an episode just because I'm out of town. I wanted to deliver consistently and just work on my craft and be there for you guys and have some fun. Like I said, try to deliver some advice that may be helpful to somebody, because we get so much just poor shit just force-fed down our throats. And here's just like a little chunk of honesty, a little chunk of truth, a little chunk of perspective for you. Just something to think about. Like I said, I'm not saying I'm the guru, I got all the answers, but I think that if more people applied some of these things that I talked about and thought about things the way that I just talked about it, I think maybe more people might find the success in that department of relationships that they're looking for. But yeah, man, it's been real. I'm about to go get back to enjoying my vacation, but that was a lot of fun. Love you guys. Subscribe on YouTube and follow the IG. Take it easy, everybody.